Father-in-law Kaido's monster cells create the strongest beasts. 61. Tokushima ends. The Queen's heartbeat. What kind of king do you want to be? Click. The red sunglasses that Doflamingo had been wearing shattered and fell to the ground. This is the final response of Joker, Celestial Dragons, Careerist, Fruit Seller, Shikibukai Donquixote Doflamingo, the middleman in the dark world. The entire arena fell into a strange and deadly silence. Luo Xing's strength greatly exceeded everyone's expectations. Especially the last conqueror's twist makes them feel incredible. The name of the Fifth Sea Emperor, even without those heaven-defying inventions, this consort of beasts is well-deserved. This is the common idea of Mako, Kategori, Pirate Queen and others. A flurry of footsteps broke the silence. Luo Xing looked over and saw the Queen of the Pleasure District Stussy, who was about to leave. Am I allowing you to go? The plain voice made this queen, who has always been confident and elegant, stiff and even tremble slightly. Stussy took a few deep breaths, trying to calm herself down, and squeezed out a flattering, charming sweet smile on her delicate pretty face. Lord Five Emperors, if you want to occupy Dressrosa, it has nothing to do with the little girl. If you mean the fairy bins that the little girl snatched from Feld, then the little girl can pay you. Before the words fell, a pitch-black sword light suddenly flashed in front of her. Stussy paled in shock. Under the danger of her life, she broke out with an amazing speed and a good haki, far exceeding the other kings of the underground world. But unfortunately, in front of the sword light cut out by Yamato, there is no meaning at all. Stussy's body was divided in half, and the sweet smile on her delicate and pretty face was also divided into two parts from the middle, which looked very strange. This terrifying scene frightened another surviving underworld king, Pykrot, the king of the killer realm. Pykrot fell to his knees with a plop, and kowtowed desperately. Forgive your life, Lord Five Sovereigns, spare your life. The villain is willing to submit to you and go up the mountain of swords and the sea of fire for your old man. Luo Xing glanced at him and said lightly, the person who knows the current affairs is Junji. Thank you, Lord Five Emperors. Thank you, Lord Five Emperors, for not killing me. Pykrot trembled, with an expression of the rest of his life. The Pirate Empress, Mako, Kategori, and Reikairu looked solemn, and they were all on guard. Mako said solemnly, are you going to kill us, or make us surrender too? Luo Xing put Yanmo into the scabbard and said with a chuckle, how could that be? Killing that woman is just because she is the lackey of the world government. Queen of the Pleasure District Stussy is a world government spy? Everyone was surprised. This is the first time they have heard of this secret. Then you're not afraid of offending the world government? Mako continued. Luo Xing laughed. This is not like what the Whitebeard pirates said. Mako kept his mouth shut, but looked at Luo Xing's eyes with a strong sense of fear. In fact, to be honest, in normal times, Luo Xing killed Doflamingo, who used to be Celestial Dragons, and killed Stussy, an important spy of CP0, so he really had to worry about the world government's crazy revenge. But now, Luo Xing is not worried about this aspect because, as a transmigrator, he has already calculated the time. Immediately, there will be a mega event that will capture the entire attention of the world government and marine. In comparison, the deaths of Doflamingo and Stussy seem trivial. That mega event is the Summit War. Luo Xing looked at the Phoenix Mako and said meaningfully, I hope the fairy bin you bought can restore a little of Whitebeard's strength at his peak. Mako frowned. What does the concubine of the beasts mean by saying this? He also wants his father's body to get better? How is that possible? The Whitebeard pirates and the beasts pirates are not friendly. I didn't see that even if my father died before, he would not bow his head to Kaido of the beasts and ask for a fairy bin. Mako asked directly, what do you mean by that? Luo Xing laughed without saying a word. Of course, he wanted Whitebeard to consume more power from marine. In the original Summit War, Whitebeard's physical condition is so bad that walking is a problem, and it is very difficult to deal with an admiral. Luo Xing hopes that Whitebeard can show more strength in this Summit War. It will lay a good foundation for his group of beasts to attack marine and world government in the future. Mako didn't get an answer and left Dressrosa with a hint of worry. Kategori followed and left. Before leaving, he looked at Luo Xing deeply. You are very strong, beyond expectation. I hope that one day, I can compete with you. Kategori is a real man who can stab himself for a fair fight. In the Big Mom Pirates, it is an absolutely special existence. Reikairu and the others also left immediately. In the arena, there are only 3 Hancock sisters left. The world's #1 beauty queen, Boa Hancock, came to Luo Xing, and the fragrance was refreshing, not comparable to ordinary vulgar fans. The queen said, do you still have fairy beans? My concubine wants to buy 2 more from you. The queen's previous idea was to tie Luo Xing to the daughter's country and let him make fairy beans. But after seeing Luo Xing's strength, the empress naturally dismissed the idea. Luo Xing scrutinized the empress's face and figure, and had noted the time just now. The more Luo Xing looked at it, the more amazed it became. Like his wife Yamato, he couldn't find any flaws at all. However, the temperament and size of the 2 women are still different. I really want to put them on the same bed and compare them carefully. Cough cough. Luo Xing coughed and said, of course I still have Xiandu, and I don't want your money, I just need you to promise me one thing." The Empress was very surprised, not expecting that the other party would say such a thing, so she vigilantly said, "What's up? Get on my boat." "What?" It's a secret alliance with me, Beast's pirates, to deal with marine and world government together in the future." The Queen's beautiful eyes suddenly widened, and under her long eyelashes, a strange gaze appeared. She didn't say yes or no, because she really didn't understand the purpose of Luo Xing's words. Luo Xing said meaningfully, "Boa Hancock, I know that you three sisters have suffered a lot and hated the world government to the core. Accepting Marine Shikibukai's appointment is also a last resort to protect the daughter's country." The Empress and her two younger sisters, their pupils trembled at the same time, showing horrified expressions. This is their biggest secret. How did this man in front of him know? Luo Xing's voice continued, "Although you are strong, Hancock, it is not enough to take revenge on the world government. It's different from my 100 Beasts alliance. With my invention, the 100 Beasts will become stronger and stronger in the future. One day, they will wield a butcher's knife at the world government. That way, you can get your revenge." After the Empress trembled for a while, there was a long silence. The secret has been known, and this man's proposal has made her heart beat. The Empress was silent for a moment and said, "Why are you being so nice to me?" Luo Xing invited her to form an alliance with 100 Beasts, which seemed to benefit both parties. But as far as specific interests are concerned, the Empress has far more benefits than the Beasts group. After all, even without her Empress joining, listening to Luo Xing's tone, the 100 Beasts would have attacked the world government. Even though her strength is not bad, in the process of attacking the world government, at most, it is only the icing on the cake, and it will not play a decisive role. Therefore, the Empress will have this question. Luo Xing answered honestly and sincerely, "Because you look like a fairy." The word beautiful like a goddess has been heard many times by the Empress. She herself often said that to make everyone in the world accommodate her. But this time, hearing the word from Luo Xing's mouth, looking at the tall and handsome young man in front of him, the Empress's heart jumped, like a deer ramming. 62. The world is in an uproar. The wrath of the five elders. For the first order. A beautiful woman is like a flower. Different flowers have different habits, such as the beauty of roses, the purity of lilies, and the purity of lotus flowers. In the face of different beauties, it is necessary to take different methods and means. Luo Xing is quite experienced in this way. Treating his wife Yamato, he mainly pampers him. As long as Yamato's demands are not too much, Luo Xing will generally meet them. When dealing with Xiaozi, who is a little inclined towards he is mainly domineering. Even if Xiaozi's crying pear blossoms bring rain and keep begging for mercy, Luo Xing will continue until he is satisfied. As for the female emperor, Luo Xing is the most beautiful woman in the world who seems to be incomparably cold, but in fact has a weak link hidden in her heart. Luo Xing is mainly influenced by Huairu. Of course, when necessary, he will also show a domineering side, but not now. Looking at the shadow of the Empress Boa Hancock leaving, Luo Xing's mouth twitched slightly. Beside, the little maid Garrett suddenly said, "Master, that Empress sister is in love with you." Luo Xing was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, "I just met her for the first time. How could she fall in love with me?" Garrett said earnestly with a small face, "Because I just noticed Empress sister." Her heartbeat was very fast for a moment, and when she turned around, her ears were all red. "Master, judging from other people's experience, Sister Empress must be in love with you." Luo Xing knocked on Garrett's cute bunny ears. "Little girl, how old are you, and how old are you?" Garrett raised his chest and said unconvinced, "He's not too small." Luo Xing smiled and pinched Garrett's furry little face, but another purple shadow flashed across his mind. Doflamingo was dead, and most of the Donquixote family cadres were also killed by Luo Crossing. Fosfu, Runty, Pei 18 Jawan and other members of the Beast Group have already mastered Dressrosa, and there will be no more accidents. It was also time for Luo Xing to visit the flower called Violet. Oh yes, and a small pink flower bone. Marine Headquarters Marineford. Marshal Marine Sengoku has been guarding the phone bug, in order to always receive information from the flying squirrel from Dressrosa. Tilda. The phone bug rang, and Sengoku picked it up quickly. "Hey, flying squirrel, what's new?" There were several voices of swallowing saliva from the phone bug, as if trying to control the shaking emotions. The flying squirrel's voice was eager. "Kaido, Marshal Sengoku, something is wrong." The fairy bin auction was just a guise, and the Beast's pirates used this guise to launch a surprise attack on the Donquixote family. Now, the entire Dressrosa has fallen into the hands of the Beasts. There was a thunder in Sengoku's ear, making his mind go blank for a moment. The fairy bin auction that attracted so many powerhouses and attracted Sengoku's attention was just a pretense. The Beasts used this to launch a surprise attack on Doflamingo, occupying Dressrosa. How could such a thing happen? Why would the Beasts do this? Aren't Kaido and Doflamingo secretly colluding often? Too many questions, too many shocks, filled Sengoku's mind. Rao is because he is called the resourceful general, and he can't react at the moment. After a long time, Sengoku took a deep breath, finally calmed down, and asked a key question. What about Doflamingo himself? You reported earlier that the only people who entered Dressrosa were Luo Xing, the consort of the beasts, one of his little maids, and Fuzzfu, who was flying 6. Only these 3 people should not be enough to kill Doflamingo. 5. According to normal thinking, Sengoku's analysis is correct. After all, Doflamingo was a powerful Shikibukai, and he also ate monster cells, so even if he was the second in command of the 4 emperors, he wouldn't be too bad. Its people will not die so easily. And Doflamingo didn't die. How did Dressrosa fall into the hands of the beasts in such a short period of time? Unless it's Kaido of the beasts in person. But that's impossible. The 4 emperors movement is what the world government and Marine are most concerned about. If Kaido had left Wano Kuni, there was no way Sengoku didn't know. The flying squirrel over the phone bug said in a frightened tone. Doflamingo was killed by the belly of the beasts and horses alone. Then the flying squirrel reported what he knew. Although he was not in the arena at that time, he observed it from a distance with a telescope and knew the general process. When Sengoku heard the flying squirrel say that Luo Xing, the concubine of the beasts, was in a crushing situation, and even suspected that he had used Conqueror's entanglement to almost kill Doflamingo in an instant, he didn't know how to show his shocked expression. Sengoku didn't even know when he hung up. Vegapunk has an incomparable inventive talent. He has the power to crush Doflamingo at a young age, and he may even master the most terrifying Conqueror's entanglement. What kind of monster is Luo Xing? Sengoku has lived for so many years and has never seen such a monster. Sengoku drank the tea on his desk in one gulp and let out a long sigh. It has happened. No amount of shock can help. He must report the matter to the 5 elders as soon as possible. Without delay, Sengoku immediately set off for Mary Joy's to meet the 5 elders. The 5 elders are furious. Seeing Sengoku, a bald old man shouted angrily, Sengoku, your marine's gross negligence. Dressrosa has fallen. A Shikibukai just died. Sengoku was stunned. It seemed that the 5 elders had the news ahead of him. It is not surprising when you think about it. After all, the world government has its own espionage agency. Coverage and rigor far surpasses Marine's own. Another bearded old man said, there is also an important spy we planted in New World, who also died. This Dressrosa incident, the world government suffered heavy losses. Another 5 elders said angrily, we've all been tricked by Kaido of the beasts this time. Who would have thought that Xiandu was just a cover? His real purpose was to occupy Dressrosa. This hall, which represents the highest power of the world government, is filled with a depressing atmosphere and monstrous anger at this moment. Sengoku suddenly said, I'm afraid it wasn't Kaido of the beasts' idea, because it was nothing like the way he used to do things. The 5 elders frowned and asked, Sengoku, you mean the mastermind behind this, someone else? Sengoku's expression was never more serious and said, on the way I came, I rethought everything that happened before and after Dressrosa. The old man can be sure that the real master of this matter must be Luo Xing, the concubine of the beasts. 99. Sengoku's determined voice echoed in the hall. The 5 elders looked at each other, clearly shocked. Xiandu was invented by Luo Xing, Doflamingo was killed by Luo Xing, and he was suspected of being the master of Conqueror's entanglement, with such a meticulous and terrifying strategy. The 5 elders felt a deep sense of crisis. This person has become a huge hidden danger with a threat level no less than that of the 4 emperors. The 5 elders said solemnly, Sengoku, in the future, you Marines should treat that Luo Xing as seriously as the 4 emperors. Raise his bounty by another 500 million. 95. Also, Dressrosa can't be easily captured by the beasts' pirates. You have to look for opportunities to take Dressrosa back. The first point is easy to say, the second point is to take back Dressrosa, and Sengoku only smiled bitterly in his heart. How could it be so easy to take back? The strength of beasts' pirates is not comparable to before. With a blessing of monster cells and fairy beans, it can almost be called an undead army. How many troops did the Marines have to put in to retake Dressrosa? Moreover, as a marshal, Sengoku can't always put his energy on the 100 beasts. He has already received the news. It seems that there is a major change in the Whitebeard pirates. When Sengoku left Mary Joy's, he felt a headache like never before, and even a sense of haggard. Big news. Big news. The beasts' pirates killed Shikibukai Doflamingo and took his turf Dressrosa. Marine raised Luo Xing, the mysterious concubine of beasts, and raised the bounty by another 500 million to a terrifying 2 billion. 55. The bounty of 2 billion Baileys. The bounty of the 4 emperors in the whole sea is higher than him. Luo Xing deserves to be called the 5th Sea Emperor. The big newsman Morgans distributed the newspaper to 107 places around the world, causing a worldwide uproar. People were dumbfounded, feared by the sudden expansion of the Beast Group. I was shocked by Luo Xing's 2 billion reward. Some people say that the Beast's pirates are about to start a huge war that will spread all over the world. Some people say that Luo Xing, the concubine of the beasts, is not a human being, but an evil spirit. Some people also say that Luo Xing, the 5 emperors of the sea, is more terrifying than Kaido of the beasts himself. Gossip is everywhere. While there was a lot of discussion in the outside world, Luo Xing himself came to the top floor of Dressrosa's palace. In front of him were two beauties, one big and one small. The big one is like an orchid, fragrant, but a pair of beautiful eyes are very complicated, both grateful and ashamed. The small ones are much simpler, fresh and pleasant like a flower bone, and looking at Luo Xing, there is nothing but gratitude. Lord Luo Xing, thank you for saving Dressrosa. Rebecca bowed deeply to Luo Xing. 90-degree angle. This angle is perfect for Luo Xing's position. After admiring it for a while, he reached out and grabbed Rebecca's arm, lifted it up, and said in a gentle voice, "As a good person, that's what I'm supposed to do." Rebecca was so moved that Luo Xing didn't let go of her hand and she didn't care. But Viola noticed it, spit in her heart, stared at her beautiful brown eyes and said, "You're not a good person." Luo Xing's serious. Kaidos, if you don't believe it, then you can just stare at the fruit and observe my brain and heart. Don't wait, I'll try it now. 95. Saying that, Viola pinched her fingers into a circle and placed them in front of her eyes. Her staring fruit can directly see people's minds. After a few seconds, Viola blushed and stomped her feet. You're just full of thoughts. Viola couldn't find a suitable adjective, and in a hurry, she turned around and ran. Luo Xing grabbed Viola's jade hand and held Rebecca's small hand with the other, and said with a serious expression, "A good person like me only thinks of good things in my mind." 63. Improved artificial devil fruit. The accident of white balls, please order first. Add. Luo Xing has done some wonderful things. The next morning, he left the palace refreshed. Inside the room, Viola and Rebecca, the aunt and niece, hugged tightly. Rebecca blushed, buried her head in Viola's arms, and whispered, "Auntie, I'm afraid I won't have the strength to go out for a few days." Viola's face was also flushed, and he spat, "That bastard doesn't know Liang Xiangxiu at all." 35. Auntie, don't talk like that, bro. Rebecca raised her pink-haired head and said weakly, "We are now all bros. Women." Viola hates iron not turning into steel. He asked you to call him brother, you really call it? Rebecca buried her head again and did not speak. Speaking of which, Rebecca is such a poor girl. The childhood that should have been happy, but because of Doflamingo, was instantly reduced to hell. First, the mother died, and then because the father became a toy, even the existence of the father was forgotten. It's hard to imagine how the young Rebecca at that time, with no support, grew to look like a teenage girl today. Although Rebecca pretended to be strong on the surface, she even went to the arena to fight people. However, her heart is actually desperate for care and extremely insecure. And Luo Xing, who saved her country Dressrosa, saved her father and grandfather, brought her a great sense of security. Last night, this sense of security was even greater. Before she knew it, Rebecca had become extremely dependent on Luo Xing. Viola sighed. She somewhat understood Rebecca's thoughts. Because she herself is not insecure. Once a princess of a country, she has been walking on thin ice in the Donquixote family for so many years. It was Luo Xing who rescued her from the sea of misery. But that bad guy, if he wants to be a good person, he will do it to the end. Why should he harm their aunt and nephew? Viola scolded Luo Xing several times as a bad guy in her heart, and then she managed to relieve her anger. After a while, she said to Rebecca, "Aunt is always older than you, but she can still move. I'll get you something to eat. You must be hungry after consuming so much energy." Rebecca hummed like a kitten. Viola struggled to get up, rubbed her numb legs, and scolded the bad guy again in her heart. Luo Xing, who was called a bad guy by Viola, went straight to the Smile Factory. Fuzzy Fu hurried to greet him. "Isn't the production progress of the artificial devil fruit affected?" "No, everything is fine." Fuzz Fu laughs. "After I killed the one called Pika, the little people in the factory were grateful to me, and Pijawin and the others brought a group of little people over. The manufacturing process of artificial devil fruit is not only not slowed down, but also faster than before." Luo Xing nodded in satisfaction. "Then enter the Smile Factory together." I could hear the unpleasant laughter of Hilau in the distance. Fuzz Fu explained, it was the evil scientist who helped Doflamingo make smile, Caesar Caron. It is said that he worked with Vegapunk before. How could Luo Xing not know this? He came to Caesar Caron, and the latter saw him like a mouse seeing a cat, and his gassy body almost collapsed with fright. Lord Luo crossing. Caesar Caron shrank his head, his face full of fear. How could he not be afraid? Even the mighty Doflamingo was easily killed by the man in front of him, let alone him. The man in front of him is 10 times more terrifying than his former boss, Doflamingo, in both strength and power. Luo Xing said lightly, "Show me the process of making an artificial devil fruit." Yes. Although Caesar Caron was puzzled, he didn't have the courage to ask. Demonstrated it honestly. After reading it, Luo Xing said directly, "Devil fruit really is at the level of bloodline factor, which allows people to acquire abilities. However, there are many mistakes in your production process, and there are even some big mistakes, which greatly reduces the success rate of Smile fruit. When Caesar Caron heard it, he almost jumped up. What he is most proud of in his life is his research ability, and he is not even convinced by Vegapunk. The most intolerable thing is that others question his science. But before he could jump, Caesar Caron suddenly remembered who the man in front of him was. The most terrifying thing about Luo Xing is not the power of the 100 beasts, nor the strength to crush Doflamingo, but the scientific research ability. Luo Xing is a great inventor who is more talented than Vegapunk. Weird cells, fairy beans, are all heaven-defying inventions. In contrast, the poison gas bombs invented by Caesar Caron, including the smile fruit, which had a success rate of only 1/10, were all weak. Having figured this out, Caesar Caron immediately nodded like a pupil facing his teacher. Yes, Lord Luo Xing is right. Luo Xing took a step forward, held the device with both hands, and said to Caesar Caron, see clearly, this is the most correct way and steps to make artificial devil fruit. You have to keep in mind that you can't do one step. Otherwise, I will throw you into the sea to feed the fish. Caesar Caron shuddered violently, his eyes widened to the widest, wishing to copy Luo Xing's movements. After Luo Xing's presentation, he said, remember? Caesar Caron patted his chest and said, don't worry, Lord Luo Xing, I remember it clearly, and I will never go wrong. Fosfu on the side asked curiously, what's the use of these steps you taught, my lord? 35. Luo Xing said casually, at least it can increase the success rate of smile fruit to 80 to 90%. Raised to 80 to 90%. Isn't that almost 10%? Infinite is equal to the devil fruit born naturally. Caesar Caron couldn't believe his ears. Fuzzy Fu rubbed his hands excitedly and said, Boss Kaido will definitely be very happy to know it. The success rate of the smile fruit has increased so much, and the number of legions we give to the empowerers can quickly increase. Before, 10 artificial devil fruits can only create one giver, but now it can create 8 to 9 people. Kaido knew that there was bound to be ecstasy. The strength of the 100 beasts will increase even faster, and this is the main reason why Luo Xing wants to eliminate Doflamingo and occupy Dressrosa. Luo Xing believes that instead of spending money to buy the smile fruit, which has a 1/10 success rate, it is better to control the raw materials, factories, etc. in his own hands. With his inventor technology, the production process can also be completely improved. Sure enough, Luo Xing, who can create more advanced monster cells, understood the technology of making smile fruits at a glance. It didn't even take long to improve. A group of little people suddenly rushed over at this time. Benefactor, that is Luo Xing Lando's benefactor. The little people gathered around Luo Xing's feet, chatting with gratitude, and calling Luo Xing Lando. Because Venbro Rolando is the hero of the villains will add Rando after their name if they truly thank someone. Luo Xing has a kind smile on his face. The little people are very simple, and they are still a very good free labor. Suddenly, Luo Xing caught a glimpse of a small dot, reached out and lifted it, and said in a gentle voice, I remember, you are the one who heals the fruit, right? The little one is the little human princess Man Shirley. Man Xueli said obediently, yes. Does Lord Luo Xing Lando want me to heal? 35. Luo Xing smiled and shook his head. It's not me, it's Viola and Rebecca, both of them are in the palace now. 99. The kind man Shirley immediately went to the palace. Seeing Viola and Rebecca, the seriously injured could only lie on the bed. Man Shirley couldn't help but said worriedly, Lord Luo Xing Lando asked me to treat you, and I will definitely try my best to heal you. Viola and Rebecca were startled. Viola was the first to react. What does this so-called treatment mean? And her face was immediately flushed and embarrassed. At the end, he just spat, bad man. My heart is inevitably subconsciously curious, can that injury really be healed? On the way back, Phoenix Marco kept thinking about Luo Xing's words. He was worried. And when he got back on the Moby Dick, the worry was tenfold. What happened? Marco asked inwardly. The Moby Dick, which used to be full of laughter, was extremely depressed at this time. Everyone's face was full of sadness. Marco looked around, feeling even more uneasy, and asked again, why don't you see Ace and Thatch? By the way, and that teach from the Ace team who never sleeps? Hearing Sachi's name, a trace of sadness appeared on the faces of the captains of the White Regiment. The captain of the 3rd Division, Diamond Joes, stepped forward and patted Marco on the shoulder, lamenting, Sage died, killed by Teach. Ace went after Teach. 35. The short sentence made Marco stunned in place. After a long time, he asked with a slightly dry throat, why? Knowing that Marco was asking why Teach wanted to kill Thatch, Joz said, I got it, because of dark fruit. I still remember that the day you left the ship, Sachi just came back from outside and said that he had a special devil fruit. I wanted to invite you to see it. If you didn't see it, we didn't care. That fruit is the dark fruit, and Teach, that bastard, has been on the boat for so many years for this devil fruit. Blackbeard Marshal Teach met Whitebeard when he was a child, knelt down on the spot, and asked to join the White Group because he believes that it is only possible to find dark fruit in the powerful Whitebeard pirates. In other words, Blackbeard, who is only a few years old, already has huge ambitions that are completely inconsistent with his age. Blackbeard is undoubtedly more forbearing, more terrifying, and more unscrupulous careerist than Doflamingo. Marco closed his eyes in grief and clenched his fists tightly. Teach that bloody bastard. Marco immediately remembered something. Why let Ace go after Teach alone? Joz sighed. You know Ace's temper. He's going to chase, and we can't stop him. The worries in Marco's heart instantly magnified infinitely. He had an inexplicable intuition that there might be some connection between Ace's pursuit of Teach and the suspicious words that Dressrosa Luo Xing said. But what was the connection? Marco couldn't figure out, and could only take a step by step. He took out the fairy bins in his arms and walked towards Whitebeard. Dad, no matter what, your body is the most important thing. Eat this fairy bin. 64. Golden Lion is coming soon, making earrings that fit for the First Order. Add. The strongest man in the world, Whitebeard Edward Newgate, is different from the other 4 emperors. His dream is to become the Pirate King, but his family. He has a bunch of family members who love each other. He was heartbroken by Thatcher's death, angry by Teach's betrayal, and worried by Ace's pursuit. But none of these emotions Whitebeard showed. He was extremely calm and unfathomable, and he was always the father whom his sons could rely on and trust the most. Seeing the green pill that Marco handed over, Whitebeard didn't take it, but asked, I heard that the Beast's pirates attacked Dressrosa. What the hell is going on, Marco? After all, Marco witnessed the whole process of the Tokushima incident with his own eyes, and he must know more details than the news in the newspapers. The captains such as Diamond Joe's, Foil Beaster, etc. also perked up their ears. If it wasn't for the killing of Thatch, they would definitely be discussing the Tokushima incident, the hottest topic in the current event. The general process is similar to what is reported in the news. Marco replied, we were all attracted by the Immortal Bin auction, we didn't expect it at all. This is just a pretense erected by the 100 Beasts. Their real purpose is to capture Dressrosa and rob Doflamingo of all the resources that Doflamingo has. Dad, I came back this time to tell you that we must pay more attention to Beast's pirates in the future. Whitebeard's majestic eyes narrowed, and his tone was low. Whose idea do you think the 100 Beasts did? 35. I still have to think about it. It must be the concubine of the Beasts. Marco blurted out, it must be Luo Xing. This person has already mastered the same emission as Eden back then, as well as Conqueror's entanglement, and he killed Doflamingo who ate monster cells in one blow. The captains of the White Regiment were all shocked. 120 News just said that Luo Xing was suspected of being a master, and Marco confirmed it. Not only that, but Luo Xing master has advanced armament Haki emission. Based on these 2 points alone, that mysterious concubine of Beasts is worthy of the name of the 5 Emperors of the Sea. As expected, Whitebeard whispered. As someone who used to be on the same boat as Kaido, Whitebeard knew Kaido's style very well, and had long guessed that the master of the Tokushima incident was not Kaido. In addition to Kaido, the 100 Beasts group can do such a big thing, only Luo Xing with aloof status. Teach, Ace, Luo Xing. Whitebeard's eyes revealed reminiscence. Roger, in this new era you have opened, even the old man can't see through. 99. Maybe one day, it is not the D family that you predicted to create the new world. One Piece. Roger once said that the D family is the natural enemy of God, and only the D family will finally change the world. But Luo Xing came out and left everyone behind. Add, even Whitebeard's optimistic case, and even Teach, a forbearing ambition, are far from being comparable to Luo Xing. In the end, Whitebeard ate the fairy bins that Marco brought back. The trauma on his body and the old wounds in his body all recovered in an instant. Everyone in the White group showed a long-lost smile. But after Marco checked Whitebeard's body, the smile disappeared, because he found that the disease in the father's body is not good. But compared to before, the body is finally much better. Red Hair Pirates. Fat Ray Kairu came back and said almost the same thing as Marco. Shanks and Beckman looked at each other, but they both smiled wryly. Shanks said, at that time, we thought we saw the purpose behind their fairy bin auction, but we only saw the 2nd floor, but the concubine of the Beasts was standing on the 5th floor. Beckman felt that the cigars in his hands were no longer fragrant, and he resented his slowness. Thanks to my usual self-proclaimed wise, this time I was tricked by a kid. 5. He's not a kid, Shanks said in a rare deep voice. It's only a matter of time before the master takes the man who has been entangled in conquerors and becomes an existence like you and me. Beckman defaults. But there's no time to pay attention to him now. Whitebeard sighed. I must stop it first. The redhead said word by word. Can't have Ace chasing Teach. Horror bark. Gecko Moria looked at the newspaper in front of him and couldn't believe his eyes. Damn Kaido of the Beasts, where did you get such a monstrous son-in-law? Hateful. His Moria's bloody vengeance has yet to be avenged. The ghost girl Perona floated over and comforted. Lord Moria, don't worry, no matter how powerful your opponent is, as long as my negative ghost wears from him, you don't have to be afraid of anything. East Blue. Alabaster. Sand Crocodile. His expression at the moment is extremely gloomy. Below, a woman wearing a small black suit with a round belly button, Her eyes always showed a bit of mockery when she raised her head. Nico Robin knows that crocodile, a man who has always been arrogant, was hit by the Dressrosa incident because the one named Luo Xing can kill Doflamingo instantly, which means that he can also kill the crocodile that also ate monster cells. A long time. Crocodile just stood up and said in a gloomy voice, Nico Robin, go and inform all the members of the Baroque studio that the steps to take Pluton must be expedited. The legendary ancient weapon Pluton, it is said that a single cannonball can destroy a country. The reason why Crocodile has been entrenched in Alabaster for so many years is because of Pluton. Doflamingo's death made him feel a great sense of crisis. The wave of the new era is getting bigger and bigger. If there is no ancient weapon to protect him, maybe one day, he will be overturned by the tide like Doflamingo. Somewhere in the waters of East Blue, Hawkeye Dracula Mihawk, after seeing the news, his sharp eyes showed fighting intent. Is the weapon used as the Enma who claims to be able to cut through hell? Interesting. It seems that you are also a swordsman. And in the sky above East Blue, no one knew that behind the layers of clouds, there was a vain island. This island, it is the flying pirate group created by Golden Lion with lion fruit ability. At this time, the Golden Lion was getting angry with Indigo, his scientist. Indigo, you bastard. Didn't you say that IQ can be made in a few days? Now that a few days have passed, how do you say it will take a few more days? The Golden Lion was furious and shouted, are you kidding me on purpose? Indigo shrank his neck in fear, and spoke of suffering. Captain, I didn't mean to lie to you. If I didn't say so, you would have gone to attack Wano Kuni long ago. The difference in strength between us and the Beasts Pirates is really huge. When Golden Lion learned that the 100 Beasts had monster cells and fairy beans, they immediately said they were going to attack Wano Kuni and grab these two things. Indigo used the reason that IQ was about to be successfully developed to hold back the Golden Lion. A few days passed, and he used this reason to try to delay it for a few more days. But even if the Golden Lion's head was stuck by the rudder, it was not very easy to use. But he was not that stupid, and immediately thundered furiously. When the Golden Lion got angry, the entire Flying Sky Pirates was silent. He is as famous as Whitebeard and Roger, one of the 3 legendary pirates, and he is still the only prisoner who has successfully escaped from Impel Down, the great underwater prison. Indigo also wanted to use other reasons to persuade. Golden Lion interrupted him directly, and said fiercely, stop talking nonsense with Lao Tzu. Whether your IQ is successfully developed or not, I have decided to go to Wano Kuni now. Immediately, the Golden Lion is arbitrary. When the voice fell, he urged the Flying Sky Island under his feet to float in the direction of New World Wano Kuni. Luo Xing didn't know that Wano Kuni was about to bring about the biggest crisis since his crossing. He is also on his way back to Wano Kuni at the moment. Everything about Dressrosa, he had already arranged and left Fuzifu, Runty, Pichu and 3 powerful Flube outer guard. As long as it is not a 4 Emperor's Admiral level powerhouse to attack, Dressrosa is as stable as Mount Tai. At the same time, the artificial devil fruit improved by him, under the leadership of Caesar Caron, plus a lot of free labor from the little people, is also stepping up production all the time. I believe that it will not be long before the first batch of improved smile fruits will be released. Master, we have made more than 10 billion Baileys this time. The little maid, Garrett, jumped up and down with joy, and her bunny eyes were almost shaped like Bailey. Luo Xing knocked on the little maid's forehead. Little money fan. Garrett stuck out his tongue cutely. Luo Xing looked at the big suitcases on the boat, and was actually quite happy. In this trip, Dressrosa and his party, killed Brother Ming, earned tens of billions, got a smile, and all the goals were perfectly achieved. He even reached an unexpected alliance with the Pirate Emperors. The only regret is the Viola and Rebecca. These 2 budding flowers that just bloomed not long ago. Luo Xing could not bring back Wano Kuni. After all, his wife Yamato is a vinegar jar. The ship moved forward. After half a day, we arrived at Wano Kuni. All important members of the 100 Beasts, including father-in-law Kaido's, wife Yamato, and Sensei, all greeted him at the port. Luo Xing even saw a lot of ordinary people in Wano Kuni. It seems that his various measures in Wano Kuni, especially the dozens of grains he bought with his own pockets, were not in vain. The popular sentiment of Wano Kuni has gradually moved towards him. That night, it was a grand banquet. Kaido sits at the top, and the second position used to be the first of the 3 disasters, but today it is Luo Crossing. Yamato, the serious young master of the 100 Beasts, also sat under Luo Crossing. Obviously, Luo Xing was already treated like the young master of the 100 Beasts. Get drunk. Luo Xing carried his wife Yamato into the room and woke up at noon the next day. I took another time to visit Xiaozi, which inevitably took another half day. After everything is over, Luo Xing locked himself in the laboratory and instructed everyone not to disturb him if there was nothing important. Luo Xing is going to make the great inventor system after reaching If4, another heaven-defying prop, fitting earrings. 65. The heaven-defying effect of fitting earrings, the ability of all members to double fruit. Please order first. Fitting earrings can make 2 people fit together, thereby achieving multiplication of strength. But there is a premise. That is, the difference between the strength of the two people cannot be too large, otherwise the increase will be insignificant to the stronger side. In addition, there is a limit to the time of the fit, which depends on the tacit understanding of the two people. Even so, fitted earrings are a heaven-defying prop to shock the world. Just imagine, if two demon fruit powers are combined, it is equivalent to a double fruit power. In the original book, in the entire pirate world, only Blackbeards with special physique can have double fruits, and if all members of the beast group are equipped with fitting earrings, it means that everyone can have double fruits. Just thinking about it makes you feel emotional. Luo Xing is also quite looking forward to this. Dressrosa and his party. Luo Xing made tens of billions of Baileys, so there is no shortage of money. He brought a lot of raw materials into the laboratory and made 100 pairs of earrings before he left the customs. Luo Xing's invention is now the most important event of the entire animal group. Therefore, after learning that Luo Xing was out of the customs, Kaido himself rushed over impatiently. Son-in-law, what good thing have you invented? Kaido rubbed his hands together, with big E's like copper bells, curious and excited like a child. No wonder Kaido showed such an expression. It is that Luo Xing's invention is too unexpected and shocking. Weird cells, fairy beans, and gravity training rooms are all epic props that can cause world turmoil. Fire Calamity Ember, Plague Calamity Quinn, Jack the Drow and others, all like a curious baby, surrounded Luo Xing with wide-eyed eyes. Luo Xing didn't pretend to be mysterious either. He took out a pair of earrings that fit together, and said with a smile, "This is it. The earrings that make two people fit together." 35. Join. Join. Rao was already mentally prepared, but Kaido still cried out in shock. Epidemic Quinn couldn't help but stepped forward, picked up the earring in Luo Xing's hand, looked left and right, and muttered, "It looks like ordinary earrings. How is it possible? How is it possible to make two big living people fit together?" 99. It was hard for him to believe, and it was hard to imagine such a scene. You just have to try it. Luo Xing knew that it would be hard for everyone to believe if they were not allowed to see it with their own eyes. He threw the earring to Quinn and said, "Wear one on the other. You and Jin can try to fit together now." "What? Let me fuse with Jin." Quinn jumped up and waved his hands in disgust. "I don't want to fuse with that birdman." Fire Calamity said coldly, "It's that I don't want to merge with you, a dead fat dragon." The two big kanbans usually dislike each other, and it is more difficult to get them to fit together obediently than to ascend to the sky. Luo Xing showed a helpless expression at the corner of his mouth, and said, "If the two sides have no tacit understanding of cooperation at all, then even if they can fit together, it is estimated that they can only fit together for a few seconds. Forget it, Quinn. You should fit in with Jack." Jack the Drow was outside, very arrogant. He refused to accept anyone, and even dared to charge forward in the face of Admiral. But within 100 beasts, he was very good. Usually, I respect the two big brothers Jin and Quinn very much. Even more respect for Kaido and Luo Crossing. Jack would definitely have no problem making him fit with Quinn. Sure enough, Jack buzzed, "I have no problem." Quinn looked at Jack, still with a look of disgust on his face, but it was better to be with Jack than Jin, so he reluctantly agreed. "Okay, I'll try with Jack." When he came to Jack, Quinn ordered, "Even if I become a person later, I will be the master, you know, Jack, you idiot." 5. Jack nodded obediently. "Of course, Brother Quinn." According to Luo Xing's instructions, Quinn gave Jack an earring, and the two put them on different tiers. Kaido, Jin, all the members of the 100 Beasts opened their eyes wide, for fear of missing a little detail. A strange scene happened. I saw Quinn and Jack wearing earrings, and their bodies began to approach automatically. A dazzling light flashed. A sturdy and huge figure with a height of more than 10 meters appeared on the spot. In front of this giant, Kaido, who was more than 7 meters tall, seemed a little insignificant. Gudong. I don't know how many people, swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Sasaki, who was flying, said absent-mindedly, "It's like reading a fairy tale." He looked carefully at the huge figure. Limbs thicker than a tree, muscles bulging up like hills. The left arm is a robotic arm, representing the Plague Quinn. Two long tusks, sticking out from the back of the head, represent Jack the Drow. There was a terrifying savage aura around the figure, which made Sasaki, Flubbin, who had eaten the ghost-level monster cells, tremble with fear. Kaido was amazed, stepped forward, and said in amazement, "This body type is almost twice that of Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu will give him a punch." 99. Quinn and Jack's combined giant, hurriedly said, "Don't, Boss Kaido, although we do feel stronger than ever now, we still can't compare to your old man. Even if the two big and three disasters are combined, the strength is doubled, but it is impossible to be the opponent of Kaido, the strongest creature. Just try and die." Luo Xing also stopped. "Father-in-law, it's the first time Jack and Quinn have joined together, and they're not yet proficient, so forget it this time." Kaido had to give up. Luo Xing said to the combined giant again, "I'll see if you change into a beast form." 35. Quinn and Jack, an ancient species of Brachiosaurus fruit ability, the other an ancient species of mammoth fruit ability. The combined giant possesses the abilities of 2 ancient zone species. Luo Xing is curious how much their fruiting ability has been enhanced. When the giant heard the words, he immediately fell on the ground, and his size began to grow again, almost approaching Kaido's blue dragon form. Roar. Indistinctly, there is the sound of dragon roaring and elephant roaring. A savage aura that was more intense and terrifying than before spread out in all directions. Cold sweat formed on Sasaki's forehead. Some of the weaker members of the 100 Beasts were even fighting with their legs, almost unsteady on their feet. Luo Xing was naturally not affected much. His eyes glowed, looking at the behemoth in front of him, very satisfied. This giant beast has a bluish-red skin and is extremely thick. Even if it is slashed with a knife covering armament haki, it is difficult to tear it apart, and its defensive power is amazing. Seeking flowers. What's even more amazing is that the giant beast has 2 heads. A brachiosaurus head with a slender neck and a stout elephant head. Apparently each represents Quinn and Jack. This scene, unheard of, unprecedented. Even the well-informed Kaido was dumbfounded. The 2-headed beast moved, and the entire Ghost Island trembled violently. However, just when the giant beast was about to move, a flash of light flashed, and the 2 heads were separated, returning to Jack and Quinn again. Luo Xing said to the 2, "It's the first time you've been together, so it's not bad to last a minute. If you want a longer time, you have to run in with each other and have a higher tacit understanding and cooperation with each other." 35. Both Quinn and Jack nodded heavily. The combination of the talents just now allowed them to see the new world, and the rapid expansion of their strength made them extremely obsessed. Even Quinn, who disliked Jack, still yearned for the powerful strength just now. According to Luo Xing's estimation, Quinn Jack's combined giant should have reached the quasi-4 Emperors level, enough to contain the powerhouses of the 4 Emperors Admiral level for a while. 0. Kaido was delighted to see the hunter and asked Luo Xing, "Is this old man able to fit in with people?" Luo Xing replied, "Of course, but with the strength of the father-in-law. The target of the fusion must also be a 4 Emperors level powerhouse. I think the most suitable candidate is the 4 Emperors Aunt Charlotte Linlin." "What, with that damn old woman Linlin?" Kaido got goosebumps all over and yelled, "Then I might as well die." Luo Xing laughed in his heart. "What the hell, old father-in-law? I don't believe you and Charlotte Linlin didn't have an affair on the rocks." The heaven-defying effect of the fitted earrings excited the whole beast's pirates. Luo Xing selected the 200 most powerful people from the Giver Corps and gave them the 100 pairs of fitted earrings made, and instructed them to go to the triple gravity room to practice, strive to improve the tacit understanding as soon as possible, and lengthen the integration time. Undoubtedly, these 200 people will soon be able to become 100 combined double-zone fruit abilities. Luo Xing brought a pair of earrings and went to his wife Yamato. The 2 entered the time gravity house to practice together. The husband and wife are in the same mind, and their tacit understanding is far from that of Quinn Jack. Luo Xing Yamato's first fit lasted nearly 5 minutes. Yamato couldn't put it down, hooked Luo Xing's neck and said, "Husband, just now I felt very close to you, and I really became a person." Luo Xing laughed. "Isn't there a time when we are still closer?" Yamato blushed, gave Luo Xing a blank look, and then clenched his fists again. "Husband, why don't we go and beat the old man together?" Yamato, who has become the Wano general, has greatly improved the situation of the Wano people, but she still wants to defeat her father Kaido's, which has almost become an obsession. Luo Xing was very helpless about this. Just when the husband and wife were training together and flirting with each other, a huge sky island has quietly approached Wano. 66. The top powerhouse duel. Kaidovs Golden Lion. Please order first. Wano border. A few hundred beast groups are patrolling here on a daily basis. Suddenly a little guy pointed to the horizon and said, "Look, there's a big cloud over there, moving towards us." "What's going on?" The other little ones were all startled and said in fear, "Could it be a thunderstorm?" This group of small patrol captains is the one who really beat Billy, that is, the one who ate the first tiger-level monster cell. Billy looked at the dark clouds in the sky, his hair standing on end. He vaguely sensed a terrifying aura coming from the dark clouds. In front of that aura, even if he ate the monster cells, he would appear incomparably small. There are enemies invading Wano. Billy pulled himself out of the shock, and without saying a word, ran to the island of ghosts. He wants to report this news to Kaido. Old Yamato Luo Xing immediately. Only Kaido and Luo Xing don't need his report anymore, because the observation haki of the 2 had already sensed that hostility was coming towards Wano. Luo Xing and his wife Yamato walked out of the time gravity room immediately. Kaido, the 3 disasters and others also happened to come out. Yan Calamity looked at the dark clouds in the distance, and said solemnly, "There is an island in the dark clouds, and the visitors are not good." "Is it marine, or other 4 emperors?" The ability to float an island in the air 1-2 and dare to invade Wano with such great fanfare, only marine and other 4 emperors have this ability. Luo Xing frowned slightly. He thought neither marine nor any other 4 emperors. The reason is that after the fairy bin auction, marine should have attacked Dressrosa. Go directly to Wano, the headquarters of the 100 Beasts, unless Marine is ready to die. From what Luo Xing knew about Marine Sengoku, it was impossible for him to do such a stupid thing. As for the other 4 emperors, if it was the aunt Charlotte Linlin, she would have called her father-in-law Kaido long ago, so it wouldn't be the aunt. Redhead and Whitebeard are also impossible. They are probably busy discussing the Fire-Fist Ace. Who would that be? How dare you offend the dragon beard of the beasts? Looking at the outline of the island gradually emerging from the depths of the dark clouds, Luo Xing suddenly had a flash of light and suddenly thought of someone. Golden Lion Shiki. Yes, definitely Golden Lion. Only Golden Lion is not afraid of father-in-law Kaido. Only the lion fruit ability of the Golden Lion can easily suspend an island. And then, Kaido's gloomy voice also confirmed Luo Xing's guess. Is that aura that disgusts me? Is it you, Golden Lion Shiki? You're not dead yet. On the Rocks ship, Kaido and the Golden Lion are extremely incompatible, and there is a lot of hatred between the two sides. And now Kaido has grown into the dignified 4 emperors, the strongest creatures in the sea, land and air. The Golden Lion dared to ignore him and blatantly invade his Wano-kuni. It was unbearable and unbearable. Roar. Furious Kaido of the beasts let out a thunderous roar. Next moment, Kaido directly transformed into a kilometer-long Xian dragon, stepping on the flame cloud, surrounded by purple lightning, and rushed straight to the island in the sky. The huge blue dragon caused the entire Run Island and Wano-kuni to be shocked. People raised their heads in shock and turned pale. Boss Kaido is angry. Who dares to challenge Kaido boss? Looks like the Golden Lion, one of the legendary 3 pirates. What? The only monster that escaped from Impel Down. If it's the Golden Lion, it's hard to say who will win or lose with Kaido. 99. The prestige of the Golden Lion is too great, and its power at its peak is even more than that of Roger, the Pirate King. In the Battle of El Ward, if it wasn't for a storm, the Golden Lion fleet might have wiped out the Roger pirates. After Roger's death, the Golden Lion attacked Marineford alone, forcing Garp and Sengoku, the 2 top marines, to join forces. They were defeated and entered Impel Down. To some extent, the Golden Lion's scary, maybe even above Kaido of the beasts. The members of the 100 beasts, the people of Wano-kuni, are of course panicked. Even the 3 disasters, such as Jin, were extremely solemn. Only Luo Xing and Yamato remained calm. Luo Xing said, Jin, you are the fastest. Go and gather the Empowered Legion, and the Fur Tribe warriors, to the Wano-kuni border. 99. There, stop the flying pirates and never let them enter the Wano-kuni mainland. Wano-kuni was rebuilt by Luo Xing after a lot of thought, and it is about to become prosperous. How can it tolerate the destruction of the Golden Lion? Jin, the leader of the 3 disasters, took the order without the slightest hesitation. Yes, Kaido is not there. Luo Xing is the real young master of the beasts who is more important than Yamato's right to speak. Luo Xing said to Quinn and Jack again, you 2 go to the arsenal and take out all the weapons you have accumulated over the years. Quinn, your gas bombs and biochemical viruses will also be useful this time. Quinn said grimly, understood. I will let the people under Golden Lion have a taste of what it means to live rather than die, including Sasaki, Maria and other Flyuan in the island of Una. All have their own division of labor. Luo Xing arranged everything in an orderly manner. Yamato saw everyone leaving, and couldn't help but look anxious. Husband, what about me? What am I going to do? Luo Xing smiled slightly, and a trace of inexplicable anticipation flashed in his deep eyes. He put an arm around Yamato's slender waist and said, of course we are with my father-in-law. Let's go and see the legendary great pirate. Dong dong dong. The air was like an entity, trampled by Luo crossing. Take his wife Yamato and go to the sky. Shiki, you bastard, dare to come to Lao Tzu's territory to make trouble. The huge blue dragon shook its head and waved its tail, and came to the front of the floating island in an instant. On the island, Golden Lion and the members of the flying pirates under his command stood there impressively. And behind them, there are hundreds of beasts with red eyes. These are the ferocious beast troops created by the Golden Lion with IQ, originally intended to conquer East Blue. At the moment, it is used by him to attack the beasts' pirates. Jihahaha. The Golden Lion, who lost his legs, was replaced by the famous sword Sikaroo and Deadwood. He floated in the air. His arms crossed his chest, and his tone was crazy. Kaido, you're so skilled. You can turn into such a big loach. Kaido in the form of a blue dragon is extremely terrifying, and swinging the dragon body at will cause the sea of clouds to violently toss. Kaido's dragon mouth opens and closes, and a strong airflow is blown out when he speaks. I am no longer the me I used to be. However, you are getting more and more embarrassed, with no legs and a rudder stuck on your head. Are you a cock, Shiki? Golden Lion was furious when he heard this, and said in a murderous voice, Kaido, it seems that you have forgotten what it was like to be taught by Lao Tzu. 35. Then I will let you remember again. 35. Lion Thousand Slice Valley. The Golden Lion waved Sikaroo and Deadwood with their feet, and sent out several huge golden slashes. Kaido growled, who are you underestimating? Bad wind. The dragon's mouth opened wide, and a large number of giant wind blades like scythes shot out. Golden Lion and Kaido, the world's top powerhouses who had hatred in the past and hatred today, officially started the fight without saying a few words. The attacks of the two, both of which are large-scale, are earth-shattering. The wind blade collided with a slash, and all the dark clouds in the air were torn apart. Several wind blades landed on Sky Island, and several of Golden Lion's men were immediately cut in half. When Golden Lion saw it, he couldn't help but look gloomy. Kaido of the Beasts is indeed not the kid who let him handle it back then. Indigo, you landed in Wano Kuni with the beasts to snatch monster cells and fairy beans. Kaido will be dealt with by Lao Tzu. Although Indigo had strongly disagreed with attacking Wano Kuni, he had no choice but to agree. So ever, the members of the Flying Sky Pirates, along with the hundreds of beasts that ate IQ, descended on the borders of Wano Kuni. After listening to Luo Xing's order, Jin had already led the soldiers of the 100 beasts to stand here. It didn't take long for Quinn and Jack to arrive with a load of weapons. Kill them all, Jin ordered, and launched an attack on his own initiative. Just a joke, how could they be beaten passively? Not to mention, their warriors he brought all ate artificial devil fruit and monster cells, and everyone's strength was no less than the original Flu Bao. Hey, Quinn smiled, emitting some kind of mummy virus. Die in pain. I like to hear screams the most. Beasts Pirates versus Sky Pirates. The war started in an instant. Without any accident, the 100 Beasts group showed a crushing posture and swept the Flying Air group directly. Those so-called vicious beasts who have eaten IQ will only be slaughtered in front of the real vicious beasts, those with zone abilities who have been blessed by monster cells. Indigo looked stunned, and his whole body was cold. He knew that the Flying Air Regiment would be inferior to the 100 Beast Regiment, but he never imagined that the gap would be so huge. Not on a level at all. Oh lo, Golden Lion, the more you mess up, the more you go back. How dare you attack me with such a subordinate? Seeing the situation below, Kaido couldn't help laughing smugly, mocking the Golden Lion frantically. Golden Lion's face flushed red. He also 5.4 did not expect this situation. The IQ he spent so many years researching, the effect is like a piece of garbage in front of the beast group. It's because of the monster cells. Golden Lion thought about it and said, all your subordinates have eaten monster cells, and the original devil fruit ability has also been enhanced, which is why you have such strength. Kaido sneered, it seems that your head is not completely damaged by the rudder. You bastard, wait for Lao Tzu to kill you, and then rob you of all your monster cells. The Golden Lion was furious, opened his hands, and shouted, Lion Majesty, earth coiling. Boom boom boom. The land on the Flying Sky Island flew up in an instant, turning into a male lion tens of meters high, biting towards the King Long ferociously. Seeing this, Kaido circled the body of the blue dragon. Tornado. The blue dragon spun like a spinning top, bringing up a violent tornado that covered the sky, and flung the lion that came up. Such a huge momentum. It is indeed a battle between the world's top powerhouses. Luo Xing had arrived here with Yamato. Luo Xing's eyes flickered, wanting to know how much difference there is between himself and the pirate's highest combat power. At this time, Golden Lion's gaze suddenly swept towards him. His eyes rolled, and he rushed towards Luo Xing without saying a word. 67. Luo Xing's strongest sword skill, Purgatory Shura. Golden Lion's approval, please order first. The main purpose of Golden Lion attacking Wano Kuni is to snatch monster cells and fairy beans. Not really trying to compete with Kaido. And just after fighting with Kaido a few times, Golden Lion found that Kaido is indeed not the little kid he used to be. He wants to completely defeat Kaido's, and it will take days and nights to say the least. How can Golden Lion have so much time? The subordinates and the beasts he brought were not the opponents of the 100 beasts at all. In a short period of time, half of the casualties have been taken. If it drags on for another hour and a half, it is estimated that all of them will be killed. At that time, Kaido had the help of the other members of the 100 beasts, even his Golden Lion, and there was only one way to go. Therefore, despite the fact that Golden Lion was still arrogant on the surface, he was actually a little anxious inside. Coincidentally, at this moment, he saw a man and a woman walking up on the air. Although Golden Lion did not know Luo Xing and Yamato, he also did some intelligence work before coming. Know that Kaido has a daughter, and that heaven-defying monster cell and fairy beans were invented by Kaido's son-in-law, a young man named Luo Xing. Golden Lion immediately determined that the young man and woman 18 who came up were Kaido's daughter and son-in-law. Golden Lion was simply overjoyed. Zhang didn't know what to do, and Luo Xing, the most important target, came to the door. After kidnapping the inventor, are you worried that there will be no monster cells and fairy beans in the future? That's why Golden Lion rushed to Luo Xing without hesitation. After Kaido shattered Lion Majesty, earth coiling with a tornado, he was furious when he saw the action of the Golden Lion. Today's Beasts Pirates, who is the most important to Kaido, is undoubtedly his son-in-law Luo Xing. Even Jin, even his daughter Yamato, would have to rank behind Luo Xing. Kaido will never tolerate someone being against Luo Xing. Hoo. A huge dragon roar resounded through the sky. Kaido went crazy, and with a move, the dragon swung its tail, and the huge green dragon's tail swept towards the Golden Lion. The Golden Lion couldn't dodge in time, and was swept away by the King Longtail. But instead of getting angry, he laughed. GG ha ha ha, Kaido, you are so impatient. It seems that the young man is your son-in-law, Luo Xing, who invented the monster cell and fairy beans. Kaido's pair of dragon eyes was full of anger and shouted, Shiki, don't you dare to fight Lao Tzu upright. Golden Lion grinned and said, it's never too late to fight with you. But my dream is to conquer the world. Kaido, give me your son-in-law. You are dreaming. King Long opened his mouth again, and the blazing flames gathered in it. Hot breath. The fiery pillar of fire, which was enough to burn the mountain and boil the sea, shot out fiercely. Golden Lion waved his legs. Slash wave. A huge slashing wave slashed through the air, cutting the heat from the middle. Golden Lion didn't even look at it. His figure rushed towards Luo Xing again, and said with a wicked smile, get on Lao Tzu's boat, kid. Luo Xing felt a strange feeling in his heart. All along, he has let others get on his boat. Of course, most of the objects are pretty women, such as empresses. Unexpectedly, there are times when others say this to him. Yamato's eager voice in his arms said, husband, let's go quickly. That Golden Lion can fight the old man so hard, it's very dangerous. In the distance, Kaido also shouted, calm down, leave it to Lao Tzu. Luo Xing stood still, patted Yamato's back, and said seriously, only in the face of the real powerhouse can we know how powerful we are. Yamato, don't you yearn for freedom? Don't you want to travel around the world? If you have to run away in the face of the strong, that's not freedom. Father-in-law Kaidos, our ultimate enemy is the world government, which has ruled the world for 800 years. If you can't win even a single Golden Lion, then you should stay in one Okuni for the rest of your life. Add. The calm but incomparably firm voice made Yamato and Kaido froze in place. Yamato's face is full of adoration, and his beautiful eyes are full of happiness and determination. Husband, you are right, we will never back down. Even if I die, I will die with you. 55. Kaido burst into a gigantic laugh. Luo Xing, to be honest, I like your present attitude more than your invention. It's like seeing the old rocks boss. Did you say so, Shiki? Golden Lion was also shocked by Luo Xing's astonishing bearing, and he stopped involuntarily. For the first time, I looked at Luo Xing with a very solemn and even dignified gaze. Little devil, you. Golden Lion didn't say the following words. In his opinion, Luo Xing at the moment is not like rocks, but like Roger back then. Luo Xing looked calm, and slowly pulled out Yanmo from his waist. Buzz. Yanmo uttered a jubilant sword cry like never before. It seems that at this moment, it no longer fears Luo Xing's conquerors, but surrenders to Luo Xing's grandeur that far surpasses its previous owner, Kazukiden. Do you want to measure me too? Luo Xing looked at the excited Yanmo. Okay, then let's try it together. Boom. The vast and majestic momentum rises from Luo Crossing. The sky and the earth changed color, and the dark clouds began to gather. Golden Lion was shocked. His pupils contracted. This is conquerors enough to cause celestial phenomena. Conquerors and senior armament haki were injected into Yanmo by Luo Crossing. The black-purple airflow surged on Yanmodian's body, as if it had put on a layer of armor. Golden Lion suddenly felt like his hair was standing on end. Kaido's dragon scales also seemed to have a chill, and he stared at Luo Xing's knife. Is that Yanmo, the knife that Iden used to use? But he didn't expect it to fall into the hands of the old son-in-law. He seems to have completely surrendered. It's really a mockery of fate. 5. Add. Under the gaze of the two top powerhouses, Kaido and Golden Lion, Luo Xing raised his knife and then slashed down. Purgatory Shura. 39. It seemed like a dark sword glow from hell, rushing towards the Golden Lion at an unmatched speed. 120. Golden Lion really changed his expression. His observation haki told him that the blow had to be dodged. Otherwise, he will be injured, not lightly. However, the arrogance of being a legendary pirate told him that it would be a great shame to avoid the attack of a junior. I'm a Golden Lion. Golden Lion made a ruthless move, mobilized haki, and attached Sakura-U and Deadwood on both feet with armed colors. Lion/wave. Two gigantic cross-slashing waves of several feet. Collision with the Purgatory Shura issued by Luo Crossing. Click. The cross-slashing wave actually shattered, shattering like glass, and hit the latter's body under the incredible gaze of Golden Lion. When the black light dissipated, a bloody slender scar appeared on Golden Lion's chest. And this scar will never go away. Golden Lion stared blankly at the wound on his chest, and then he laughed out loud. For the first time since Roger Garp Sengoku, someone has hurt Lao Tzu. Boy, I recognize you. Come on, let's have a showdown. Luo Xing gasped slightly. The blow just now consumed almost all of his haki. Facing Golden Lion's praise and invitation to fight, Luo Xing smiled slightly. It is my honor to be recognized by the seniors of Golden Lion. However, this is not a ring fight, but a life and death battle. Senior Golden Lion, you are going to die here today. 68. Husband and wife fit together. 8 trigrams. Golden Lion ends. First order. Add. I'm going to die here. Gee ha ha ha. Kid, who do you think I am? Golden Lion stood proudly, as if the bloody wound on his chest did not affect him in the slightest. I do recognize your strength, but you are young after all, and you are still decades away from killing me. Being able to injure a top powerhouse like Golden Lion and being able to defeat or even kill him were completely two different concepts. In the original book, Zoro can inflict scars on Kaido when he uses Inma, but to say that Zoro can beat Kaido's, it is absolutely impossible. Therefore, even though Golden Lion was injured by Luo Xing, he still maintained his demeanor as a top powerhouse. Hearing Golden Lion's words, Luo Xing smiled lightly. Kaido, that's why I just said, this is not a ring fight, but a war. Then, Luo Xing took out a pair of earrings and gave one to his wife Yamato and one to himself. Golden Lion frowned. What are you doing with the earrings? Trying to kill him with that gadget? What a joke. The blue dragon transformed by Kaido came to Luo Xing Yamato's surroundings. Seeing the earrings, he smiled and said, are you guys going to fit together? Interesting. Yamato, don't embarrass Lao Tzu. Yamato's beautiful eyes stared at her father and hummed, I will defeat you sooner or later, stinky old man. King Long's nostrils were full of anger. Father, you rude and rebellious son. Stinky old man, bull orangutan bastard. Yamato's answer made Kaido's nose crooked. Luo Xing interrupted the father and daughter who had a bad relationship with a smile, saying, Father-in-law, we will kill Golden Lion as quickly as possible later, and we cannot let him leave here. Luo Xing's principle of dealing with the enemy is to cut grass and roots, and never have future troubles. Today, he has forged a life and death feud with Golden Lion. If he is allowed to escape, with the strength of Golden Lion's world's top powerhouse, he will suffer endlessly. Kaido also knew the difficulty of Golden Lion and agreed without any hesitation. Opposite, Golden Lion frowned even more. The enemy seemed to be planning to besiege him, but aside from Kaido's, the kid named Luo Xing didn't reach the level of a top powerhouse, and neither did the woman. Facing these three people alone, even if he is weak, Golden Lion will not be easily defeated. Utilizing Lion Fruit's abilities, running away must be no problem. I want to see what the hell you guys are up to. A sneer appeared on Golden Lion's face, but the next second, he couldn't smile. Not only can't laugh, but also has a ghost-like expression. I saw Luo Xing and Yamato, each putting earrings on their ears, and then a scene that made Golden Lion's eyes protrude. The two people wearing earrings actually merged with each other, and they became one person under the flash of light. Depend on. Golden Lion was stunned, and the cigarette he was holding all the time fell into the sea without noticing. A pair of earrings can actually make two living people merge into one person. Even Bullet's fusion fruit can't do it. 5. Add. Golden Lion couldn't believe his eyes. He has fought against the Roger pirates several times, and he has seen Douglas Bullet, the one with the combined fruit ability on the Roger ship. The Golden Lion can be sure, and Bullet will never be able to combine the two into one. Forgot to introduce, this is my new invention, fitting earrings. The fit person of Luo Xing, Yamato said with a smile. The external outline of the fit person is dominated by Luo Xing, and the voice is also Luo Xing's, but there are two red dragon horns on his forehead, representing Yamato. At the same time, Luo Xing's brows are slightly curved and his teeth are slightly sharp, which is the influence of Yamato's canine fruit, Phantom Beast, and the true god of Big Mouth. In short, after the fit, Luo Xing's appearance did not change much, except that his breath rose a lot. Golden Lion looked moved. New invention, fitted earrings, yet another heaven-defying prop. Even Roger can't compare to you at this point. Golden Lion lost the confidence he had just now. Luo Xing Yamato's fit made him feel a great threat. In addition, Kaido of the Beasts is staring at him, and if he is not careful, his Golden Lion might die here today. Golden Lion can't help but think back to the day he fought Garp Sengoku in Marineford many years ago. He lost that time, but Garp Sengoku didn't kill him, just put him in impel down. But if he loses again today, there will be no prison for him to squat. Retreat? Run away? No, I am a Golden Lion. If he left behind and ran away like a coward, how could he, the Golden Lion, have any face in this world in the future? The arrogance belonging to the legendary great pirate made Golden Lion's expression gradually grim. The whole body was filled with a strong murderous aura. Obviously, he's going to fight to the death. Seeing this, Luo Xing breathed a sigh of relief. Golden Lion doesn't want to run away. Otherwise, with the ability of Lion Fruit, if Isshin wants to escape, even if he joins forces with his father-in-law Kaido's, he may not be able to stop Golden Lion. Let's fight. Let me see the strength of the so-called four emperors, combined with you two young people. 35. The Golden Lion let out a roar. In a disadvantaged state, he actually launched an attack on his own initiative, worthy of being the legendary great pirate. Boom! The four emperors level battle broke out in an instant, with lightning and thunder, and the wind howling. Hot breath. No way to Binya. The blue dragon spit fire, and the wolf god spit ice. The Golden Lion suddenly fell into a state of ice and fire. He yelled angrily and tried his best to finally get rid of the ice and fire, but his body was not lightly injured. Lion Majesty Thousand Slice Valley. 39. The Golden Lion, engulfed in rage, sent out dozens or hundreds of huge slashes in a row. Every slash is enough to tear the ocean apart. Tornado. King Long Kaido was fearless, and while setting off an endless tornado, he also cut out countless wind blades. Luo Xing Yamato was not far behind, holding Yanmo in one hand and a mace in the other. Couple combination technique, Purgatory, singing Dysprosium. Mingdi is Yamato's move, while Purgatory is Luo Xing's exclusive. Yanmo and the mace crossed each other, and the sword glow and the cudgel fused together, sending out a shockwave that could be called terrifying. Boom boom boom. The sky is shattered, the sea is boiling. The Wonokuni coast below. The members of the Flying Sky Pirates and the members of the 100 Beasts who were fighting fiercely stopped their movements subconsciously and looked up at the sky. Gudong tilde. I do not know how many voices swallowing saliva. It's terrible, such a fight. This is the world's top combat power. Compared to those people, we are as weak as ants. The point is, who'll win? It goes without saying, it must be the Golden Lion boss. Although the members of the Flying Air Corps were mistreated by the 100 Beasts, they still believed in the strength of their captain, Golden Lion. Don't think the Golden Lion will lose to Kaido of the Beasts. But the next scene made them dumbfounded. They saw that in the terrifying confrontation, Captain Golden Lion flew out, covered in blood. Golden Lion lost to Kaido of the Beasts. No, not just Kaido of the Beasts. 5. Indigo, the confidant scientist of the Golden Lion, suddenly said with a trembling voice, there is another person in the sky. He and Kaido teamed up to knock the captain flying. What? There's one more person. How could it be that there are 2 4 Emperor's level powerhouses in the 100 Beasts group? The pirates in the flying regiment were all stunned. Even on the side of the 100 Beasts, the monk who was a little over 2 feet tall was at a loss. Plague Quinn pinched his mustache, looked at the figure juxtaposed with Kaido's boss in the sky, and said doubtfully, that person's breath is a little familiar, and a little unfamiliar. The observation Haki of Fire Calamity is above Quinn, and his eyesight is also better than Quinn, he said solemnly, because it is the combination of Master Luo Xing and Master Yamato, so you will feel both familiar and unfamiliar. Luo Xing was long regarded by Kaido as his successor, so within the 100 Beasts, many people changed their names to call him Young Master Luo Crossing. Quinn and Jack were both shocked, and then they smacked their tongues. Master Luo Xing and Master Yamato are indeed husband and wife. Not to mention how shocked the people below are. It was only said that the Golden Lion, who was knocked out, was wounded again. In the past few rounds, his injuries have reached a serious level, but the Golden Lion still ignored it, and became more and more mad. I'm the man who wants to rule the world. Death to those who stop me. Everyone who stands in the way of Lao Tzu will die. 35. The Golden Lion with a ferocious face suddenly flew to the top of Sky Island. He pushed the ability of Lion Fruit to ultimate, and the whole island began to crumble. Boom. The boulders collapsed, the trees fell, and the beasts that still existed on the island fled in panic. Then there was a loud bang, and the entire Flying Sky Island disintegrated completely. The Golden Lion condensed all the rubble from the disintegrated island, forming a giant lion that covered the sky and the sun. Lion Majesty middle. Big earth coiling. Golden Lion laughed wildly. The giant lion made a deafening roar at the same time. Luo Xing's expression also became solemn. This is the last blow of the Golden Lion. Kaido's blue dragon form suddenly became smaller and turned into the strongest dragon man form, holding a mace in his hand and grinning. After Rox and Roger, another legendary pirate is about to fall. Get it? Luo Xing nodded slightly. Although Golden Lion is tyrannical, it is impossible for him to win when he joins forces with his father-in-law Kaido. In this sea, there is no strong man who can defeat 2 4 Emperor's Admiral at the same time. Golden Lion is doomed. Then give him a perfect ending. Luo Xing took a deep breath, and the high-level armed color and conquerors were revealed at the same time, which naturally also included the part of Yamato. Ingma in his right hand continued to devour Haki, while the mace in his left hand was wrapped in purple arcs. Kaido glanced at, using the maces of Yama and Yamato to simultaneously use 2 rounds of Thunderate trigrams entwining conquerors. It's a great idea, and only fit people can use it. If that's the case, let's add Lao Tzu's Thunderate trigrams. Stab lala. Kaido's mace is also wrapped with conquerors and purple arcs. 8 trigrams are enough to defeat all the strong men in the world. Sure enough, in the face of such an attack, the giant lion created by the Golden Lion with all his strength was instantly shattered. 3-shot tyrannical Thunderate trigrams unabated, slammed on Golden Lion's body firmly. Golden Lion's eyes were wide open, as if he couldn't believe he had failed like that. Life was passing fast. Lion Fruit's ability failed. Golden Lion's body plummeted and fell into the sea. The waves of the sea were his final funeral. The legendary Golden Lion of a generation has come to an end. 69. System upgrade of 5. Dragon level monster cells. Subscription required. In the Dressrosa incident, the big journalist Morgans was involved. At that time, he did not enter the fairy bin auction venue, but hid in the sky far away to watch. The news reports all over the world after the event were basically all from him. Since then, Morgans has paid close attention to the movements of the 100 Beasts. He believed that since the 100 Beasts killed Doflamingo by means of thunder and occupied Dressrosa, there would definitely be big moves in the future. He wants first-hand news. Of course Morgans did not dare to enter Wonokuni territory, but in the surrounding sky and sea. The albatrosses who arranged a few observations still dared. Therefore, when the flying pirates of the Golden Lion descended from the sky to Wano Kuni, the rest of the world didn't know, but Morgans got the news. Morgans was ecstatic. One is the legendary great pirate with the same name as Roger and Whitebeard. One is the Beasts Pirates, which has grown stronger lately and has been born with heaven-defying inventions. When the two collide, who wins and who loses? So exciting and so intriguing. This incomparably explosive scoop will let him sell billions of more newspapers, no problem at all. Therefore, when the report came out, after the Dressrosa incident, the whole world was once again plunged into a huge uproar. The Sky Pirates invade Wano Kuni, battle the Beasts Pirates. The legendary pirate Golden Lion died on the spot. Apart from Kaido of the Beasts who killed the Golden Lion, there seems to be another 4 Emperors level powerhouse. All members of the entire Flying Sky Pirates, 120 were all killed by the Beasts. Looking at these headlines in the newspaper, people in the world were shocked and lost their words, and they couldn't recover for a long time. Marine Headquarters Marineford, Sengoku, Garp, and the 3 Admiral all gathered in the office. Sengoku frowned into the word Quinn, patted the newspaper on the table and said, I didn't expect the Golden Lion guy to show up and attack Kaido of the Beasts. Since Golden Lion escaped from Impel Down many years ago, he has not been heard from, and neither Marine nor the world government can trace him. What's even more unexpected is that Golden Lion Shiki died like this. Sengoku's tone was full of wonder and shock. As he had played against Golden Lion, he knew that the latter was powerful. At that time, if he hadn't teamed up with Garp, he wouldn't necessarily be able to defeat the Golden Lion, and even if he could, he wouldn't be able to keep him. Marine hero, Garp, who faintly has the title of Marine's first person in combat power, also said with a face full of astonishment, the Golden Lion and Kaido of the Beasts were both on the Rock's ship. They have long had a grudge, and it is not uncommon for them to kill each other. But the Golden Lion died in the battle, which really surprised the old man. It stands to reason that with the ability of Golden Lion Fruit, even if he can't beat Kaido's, there is no problem in escaping. With his legs crossed, Kizaru Polslino, who was doing a manicure, raised his eyelids and said, didn't it say that there was another 4 Emperors level powerhouse at that time, and it is not surprising that Kaido of the Beasts joined forces with him to kill the Golden Lion. 35. What another 4 Emperors level powerhouse? Ake Ainu Seikazuki snorted coldly, it's just an exaggeration in the news. Ake Ainu was tricked by Jack the Drill last time, and he didn't have the slightest affection for the beasts. Okajiki-san says, there is still a certain degree of credibility, otherwise the Golden Lion will not be able to die. The question is who the extra powerhouse is. Is it the 4 Emperors? Aunt Charlotte Linlin? Big Mom was also a member of the Rock's ship, and like the Golden Lion, it is still possible to collude with Kaido to murder the Golden Lion. Sengoku sighed. The Beasts Pirates are in Wano Kuni, too closed for their marine spies to get in, making it difficult to get more accurate intel. Can't guess the result here. But in any case, what is certain is that the threat of the Beasts Pirates is getting bigger and bigger, and if they don't stop it, I don't know what they will do. It's just that there was a major change on the Whitebeard Pirates side, and Sengoku couldn't deal with the beasts with all his strength now. But it must not be left alone. He thought about it and said to Ake Ainu, Seikazuki, get ready, lead 5 warships to Dressrosa in a few days, and see if you can get Dressrosa back and kill the arrogance of the 100 beasts. Sengoku directly named Ake Ainu, the most radical of the 3 admiral, and hated the beasts. Obviously, he is going to be serious about the 100 beasts. Ake Ainu heard the words and stood up, his face full of killing intent. Don't worry, I will kill all the pirates of Dressrosa without leaving behind Big Mom pirates. Charlotte Linlin rubbed her eyes and read the newspaper in front of her several times before she finally determined that Golden Lion was dead. She exclaimed strangely, that old boy Kaido can actually kill the Golden Lion, he's really good at it. Moby Dick. When Whitebeard heard the news of the Golden Lion's death, a burst of sadness surged in his heart. There is one less old guy of the same era as him. And where should he choose where Whitebeard should die? Yes, Whitebeard had a premonition that his end was near. That is something that cannot be undone even if you eat fairy beans. Revolutionary Army Headquarters. Monkey D. Long asked Sabo, who do you think is the other 4 Emperors level powerhouse who killed the Golden Lion? Sabo said without any hesitation, it can only be Luo Xing, the concubine of the beasts. I have seen that man in Dressrosa. It can only be described as unfathomable. 9. A look of surprise flashed across Long's face. Sabo is his most important successor. Since Sabo said so, it shows that Luo Xing's strength is indeed extraordinary. The dragon muttered to himself, beasts pirates, Kaido, Luo Xing. In addition to the world government, the future great enemy of their revolutionary army may be one more. Luo Xing didn't know that the rumors about him were intensifying, and he wouldn't care if he knew it. After destroying the Golden Lion pirates, he is fully aware of his own strength. It can injure a 4 Emperors admiral level powerhouse, but cannot completely defeat it. After reuniting with his wife Yamato, his strength has completely reached the 4 Emperors admiral level, and he is not afraid of any strong person in the world. But even if the hearts of husband and wife are connected, The time of union is limited. Luo Xing opened his system panel while practicing his haki and swordsmanship in the time gravity room. Host, Luo Xing. Points, 1.05 million. System level, IV 4, 15,000. Unlocked props, ghost level monster cells, fairy beans, fit earrings. Items to be unlocked, dragon level monster cells. System mall, any door, time machine, Ryujin Jaka. A pair of fitting earrings can provide Luo Xing with 10,000 points, and the corresponding cost is as high as 50 million Baileys. The 100 pairs of earrings that Luo Xing made last time cost him 5 billion, and his net worth of 10 billion shrunk by half. Luo Xing was a pain in the ass, and he had to continue to work on the 4 emperors in the world government. Fortunately, the points have risen to 1 million, and the system can be upgraded to the next level. Dragon level monster cells. Luo Xing has long been looking forward to it. He exchanged 500,000 points for 5,000 experience points on the spot, and opened the system panel again. Host, Luo Xing. Points, 550,000. System level, IV 5, 1/10,000. Unlocked props, ghost level monster cells, fairy beans, fit earrings, dragon level monster cells, 5-fold gravity room, intermediate time room. Props to be unlocked, Cybertronian. System mall, any door, time machine, Ryujin Jaka. The unlocked dragon level monster cells, the 5-fold gravity chamber and the intermediate level time room are all expected by Luo Crossing. But the Cybertronian to be unlocked made him doubtful for a moment. After thinking about it for a while, I remembered that the so-called Cybertronians are mechanical life forms that can change their forms. To put it bluntly, they are mechas. Luo Xing's eyes flashed. Men who don't love mechas, after all, flesh and blood are weak and only machines can soar. 70. Xiaozi's resentment. The terrifying increase of dragon-level monster cells. Please subscribe. There is not much of a problem with the combat power of the current members of the 100 Beasts. The improved artificial devil fruit is continuously shipped from Dressrosa every day, and the number of newly added Empower Core has reached 300. Through the practice in the triple gravity room, their physique has greatly increased, enough to withstand tiger-level monster cells. Luo Xing let them eat monster cells. In addition to the original 500 givers and 300 warriors of the fur tribe, the beast group now has a bounty power of over 100 million, which has reached more than 1,110 person. There are also 200 or 300 people who have reached 300 to 500 million bounty battle strength. There are dozens of people who have a bounty power of 500 million to 1 billion. With a combat power of more than 1 billion, there are 6 Flupu, 3 disasters, 2 Luo Xing Yamato and his wife, and 1 Kaido, for a total of 12 people. Among all the 4 Emperor's regiments, the current overall strength of the 100 Beasts regiment is well-deserved number 1. Also, Fairy Ben can make all members of Zone's 100 Beasts have almost immortality. Fitted earrings can create hundreds of double fruit ability people with double the strength. It is equivalent to the real combat ability of the Beast group, and it will be doubled again. It's no wonder that the flying pirates of the Golden Lion can be destroyed in a crushing manner. In this sea, the only ones that can be said to be stronger than the 100 Beasts are the Marine Headquarters and the World Government. But even Marine Headquarters and World Government, if they want to really win the Beast's pirates, have to be prepared to pay a bloody price. Therefore, Luo Xing is not too worried about the combat effectiveness of the members. The only thing I'm worried about is the weapons and equipment. Although Wano Kuni has the best sea stone craftsmanship in the sea and many weapons mines, both in terms of scale and quantity, the weapons and equipment are far inferior to those of Marine and World Government. This difference is not small. Luo Xing has been thinking about how to make up for it, and even moved to find the idea of ancient weapon. But now, it is enough to make up for the backwardness in weapons and equipment just by upgrading the system to the next level and making Cybertronians. Cybertronians are definitely top-level mechanical life forms. They can emit energy pulses and flexibly switch between melee and distance combat forms, enough to blow up the pacifists that Marine will develop. Luo Xing was looking forward to the stunned expressions of Sengoku and 5 elders. He smiled and stood up. His wife Yamato is still working hard. Yamato is usually busier than Luo Xing, because Wano Kuni has nothing to do, and many things need to be handled by Yamato, the new General Wano Kuni. Of course, Yamato can also not deal with Kurozumi, just as he is comfortable. But then it wouldn't be Yamato. Yamato did not rest after finishing Wano Kuni's affairs, but kept coming to the time gravity room to practice. Yamato didn't want to drag Luo Xing down in terms of strength. Luo Xing saw that Yamato's fair forehead was covered with sweat, and the stretchy underwear he was wearing was soaked, tightly fitting his perfect figure. Luo Xing had no other thoughts, only distressed. He walked up to Yamato, wiped the sweat from Yamato's forehead with his sleeve, and said, "Wife, take a break." With a resolute expression on his face, Yamato shook his head and said, "I want to become stronger, no matter what kind of power I face. I don't have to back down. I want to gain real freedom." It seems that in the fight with Golden Lion, what Luo Xing said touched Yamato a lot. Luo Xing stopped discouraging Yamato and said, "Next, I will enter the laboratory for a few days. Then walk out of the time-gravity room. Luo Xing did not enter the laboratory immediately, but went to the other courtyard of Xiaozi, the capital of flowers. Xiaozi was also practicing, holding a sword in her hand, dancing around in the courtyard. Luo Xing watched the meeting with a smile, clapped his hands and praised, "The beauty of dancing swords is really pleasing to the eye." Xiaozi stopped and looked at him angrily. "This is the sword that kills you, not the sword that dances." Luo Xing stepped forward, smiling unabated. Xiaozi's body suddenly tensed up, and she pointed her sword at Luo Xing in a panic. Luo Xing said, "I remember I said before that if you assassinate me again, I will stay in your room for 1 more hour." Xiaozi's body shook violently. "Stay an hour longer and she's really going to die." Xiaozi put down her sword, and her silver teeth were about to shatter. "You devil, devil." Luo Xing smiled slightly. Close to Xiaozi, he stretched out a finger, raised the other's sharp and smooth chin, and said warmly, "The devil's food is the canary, don't you know?" Xiaozi closed her eyes as if resigned. But suddenly his face changed. He broke free, stared at Luo Xing and said, "You were with her just now?" Luo Xing was taken aback. Looking at the hand that he stretched out, it was the arm that had wiped Yamato's sweat just now, and there was still water on his sleeve. Women are really sensitive to the taste of other women. 99. Luo Xing complained in his heart. Xiaozi said again, "You came to me, are you not afraid that she will get angry?" 35. Luo Xing directly hugged Xiaozi's slender waist and said in the beauty's crystal clear ear, "As long as you don't get angry." Xiaozi was in a hurry. How could she not be angry? But is it useful for her to be angry? Can you, the devil, let her go? The answer is of course not. 5 or 6 hours later, Luo Xing left Xiaozi by Yuan. The powerless Xiaozi looked at Luo Xing's back angrily, but there was a bit of resentment in her beautiful eyes. Luo Xing entered the laboratory and did not come out until 2 days later. Outside the door, eagerly looking at his 3 disasters. "Young master, you finally came out." Then that epidemic Quinn couldn't say anything in a hurry. "Has that higher-level monster cell been produced?" Hearing the higher-level monster cells, Jack the Drow's breathing became a little heavier. "It is the most calm fire disaster, and there is an urgent light in his eyes." Luo Xing didn't give a shit, nodding with a smile. "Of course." He took out a box from behind him. The box contained 3 extremely strange-looking purple meat pieces the size of a basketball. The surface of the purple meat was still thumping, as if it was a heart with vitality. Quinn rushed forward with a stride, holding one, and said with greedy and obsessive eyes, "This is the dragon-level monster cell that you said, young master, that is more powerful than what flew Bao and the others at? Good. Can we also evolve into a mythical beast species, and our strength will skyrocket?" Luo Xing was too lazy to talk nonsense anymore, and said directly, "You eat first, and then, how much your strength can increase depends on your respective physiques. But, certainly not worse than Fozfu and the others. 0. Hearing Luo Xing's words, Jack couldn't wait. Picked up a dragon-level monster cell and swallowed it. Since Fuzfu and the others at the ghost-level monster cells, their strengths were equal to his Jack, or even stronger than him. Jack was very depressed for a long time, for fear that his position on the big board would be replaced by someone else. Now it was finally his turn to eat monster cells. How could he not wait? Quinn was not in a hurry to eat, and looked at Jack, wanting to see what would happen to Jack first. Jin is also on the same mind as Quinn. The two stared blankly. I saw the rapid expansion and proliferation of Jack's surface cells, and Jack's body began to expand rapidly, reaching a height of more than 10 meters in a blink of an eye. Jack suddenly let out a huge elephant roar, and a violent airflow erupted from him. Even Quinn and Jin had to cover their faces with their hands to resist the powerful sense of oppression. That guy Jack, what a strong breath. Ember was shocked. This breath has already surpassed him. When the violent airflow stopped and Jack's figure was revealed, both Jin and Quinn couldn't help but gasp. At this time, Jack not only grew to more than 10 meters in size, but his ivory also became several meters long. Every muscle in his body was like steel, full of terrifying power. Gudong. Quinn swallowed subconsciously. He used to scold Jack at will. But at this moment, he wouldn't dare to lend him 100 courage. Jack's aura was too strong, like an idol from the wild, which made his ancient Brachiosaurus tremble with fear. Is this the power of dragon-level monster cells? Is this what humans feel like? Jack spoke, his voice rougher than ever. He squeezed his fist and waved it at will, and the air actually sent out an overwhelmed sonic boom. Ha 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 ha. It's wonderful, this powerful force. I'm going to hit 10 Akai Inu. Gwing. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this and join my Patreon if you want to support me. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.